just love the rear end of that thing.
Powered
Like,
by Riverside
I would do things to that rear end, honestly. Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Corporate Pistons, episode 12.
Welcome. Well, technically it's 13, but yeah, 12 on the
and
paper. Who's keeping
and
count?
technically, it's a special episode 2 today. So we've completely
Yes.
fucked up the naming convention. Because in today's episode, we have another special guest. Adi, would you like to do the introductions this time?
Yes, actually. I would like to heartily welcome our friend and colleague Bashir, who also works in the same company as us, just in a different atmospheric level, let's say. He's in the stratosphere. We're all mere mortals on the ground. So Bashir is a close friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, and that's how Bogdan and I met originally. And more importantly, Bashir was also my mentor when I first got this job, and he helped me, showed me the ropes, and helped me get to where I am today, and give me the chance to be able to handle some of the craziness, but also some of the awesomeness that goes on at our work. So, welcome, Bashir, to our
Thank you so
podcast.
much for the amazing introduction. It's very humbled by this. It's definitely not that true, and yeah, thanks for the nice compliments as well. But yeah, I can say I'm Bashir, and I had the privilege of working with both of you at
Yes.
some stage separately at different
Yeah.
locations even, and
Yeah.
also at some stage kind of at the same time when we all were kind of working for the same customer we all love. One of the
Yes.
customers we had.
One of them. Yeah. At least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not to mention,
Uh,
Bashir, you were also my direct manager for a brief period during my graduate days. So
oh God.
exactly,
No,
you made me who I am today.
but whatever you want to call me, I really loved working with both of you. Seriously, it was actually the times where I always miss in my current times when I'm like in deep trouble. I don't know what to do next in my job. And it's like, drowning in billions of things. I always remember that actually the times we worked together were always, there was a lot of stress, a lot of crazy stuff going on and pressure, but we always enjoyed. This was really what's amazing that with both of
It
you,
is.
really enjoyed the working actually. So it was something we need to always have some fun at work anyway.
Exactly. And I mean,
That we've
there's
had.
always going to be there's always going to be like stress and intense topics going on. But every once in a while, if you cannot take a step back, just have a quick laugh about it, just relax, and then sort of go forward. Then what's the point? So and to be fair, Bashir, that's sort of the attitude that. You had when we were together in the same group, and that's sort of what I picked up on most, and that's what I use now. If things get hectic, I just crack a joke about it, take a
Amazing,
minute
yeah.
to laugh, and then keep going, and yeah, just help people around you, and it'll all work out.
That's why we're still friends. Otherwise, we would have killed each other a long time ago. But yeah, see,
Yes,
It's
this
funny
is
that
very
you
much
mentioned
true.
that, Adi, because I also the one thing I remember about working with you, Bashir, was like you mentioned, not didn't matter how stressful the days were or how crazy the topics. Every time I came to you, half crying because I didn't know what to do next, your approach was always like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. Something is gonna happen. We'll work something out. Relax, it's all good. So, it was a very safe environment working with you, and I think
And the
that
and the good
ability
news
to
is
calm
it
things
always
down.
did
So
work out. And the good
amazing.
news is
surprisingly,
it
yes,
always did work out. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you
but
can't be too
maybe
relaxed. When you feel the heat sometimes, and you realize,
Yeah.
okay, now maybe we should actually become a bit more serious. Then it gets better. Because when you're too relaxed,
Oh,
sometimes
for
things
sure,
get
for sure.
missed
Yeah,
and
yeah,
zoned. But yeah, it's still you have to have
for
a good
sure.
balance.
Yeah, exactly.
it's finding
Bogdan,
that
would you
balance
like
that kills
to?
us.
Yes.
Yes.
Bogdan, would you like to go through your usual checklist of topics?
Yes, but maybe just one slight accolade before we dive into that, because
Yeah,
for our other two listeners that maybe didn't have the privilege of knowing or working with Bashir, could you
Yes,
just give us,
of the
a
three and a half
30-second
listeners.
introduction?
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, sure, sure.
Bashir is one of them, but can you give us a bit of an
Exactly.
explanation of what are you doing now? You mentioned drowning in a billion of things and or dollars, but what exactly are you handling nowadays?
Dollars. Yeah, no, first of all, it's amazing to be here. Thanks a lot for inviting me. It's really a privilege for me to be here with you guys. And I've been really following. That's why actually your 3.5 followers are today 2.5 because I'm one of them. So, yes,
Yes,
okay, you're
exactly.
only one down. That's fine. I'm kind of following it from inside this time. And the other thing is, yeah, I love that you started with episode 00. I won't start the subject, Adi. But 00 makes it even more exclusive because people think it's gonna stop at 99. So like with 100, you're gonna have like the Y2K problem probably. I don't know. I have to check what will happen with 100. And
We'll cross that
yeah,
bridge when we
so
get to it.
yeah, exactly right. Hopefully, yeah. Anyway, we need a few weeks to get there, but soon you will definitely make it, and I'll be following until the end. But when you have a
Hey,
million
very
followers,
much
please
so.
don't forget me.
No,
No, no, no.
please.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
It'll be we'll be bringing you back at that point, so it's all good.
Thanks, thanks. Yeah, so
You'll
I'm
be part of the
Bashir,
lore.
as you said. Sorry?
You will be part of the lore of this podcast.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, thank you, thank you. I remind you, it's being recorded, so yes. Yeah, so I just to get back to your question, Bogdan, sorry for the for a bit going off subject. So I'm Bashir, as Bogdan Adi introduced. Thanks a lot. As I told you, very humbled by your introduction. So I'm also at the same company that Adi and Bogdan work in. So we have a lot of corporate work and corporate jokes and things we went through together. And yeah, so I've been in that company for about 18 years now, and 3 countries, first England, then Germany, and then now in the Middle East, actually, since 2 years. So I was also glad that you guys even mentioned the Middle East and a bit mentioned me in your episode 00. So that was also great. And now that you mentioned that I have Bugatti and so on, now you saved me. I can actually drive the Bugatti to work because I was hiding it until you now mentioned it
Well,
publicly. So it's not easy.
we're here to help, Bashir.
Sure, yeah, thank you, thank you. And yeah, so we worked together basically with Bogdan in Germany for a while. We worked also with Adi in Germany, but in another location for a while. Also, I was in the same location Bogdan was in England. So yes, and generally I'm from Lebanon, but I've left Lebanon since 21 years. So it's this year, now you can calculate, of course, because this year is exactly the middle point. I've been outside Lebanon as much as I've been in Lebanon. So yes, now you can do the math. So it's a big
That's a
milestone.
long time, yeah.
So
And
you're 80.
basically this is it, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Nice. No, I was just saying, by my math, that makes you around 80 years old now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, right, right. Exactly, exactly. Luckily the camera's off. So.
Good thing we don't do this on camera, yeah. Our real ages would then be clearly highlighted.
And nowadays, what sort of role do you do in our beloved company? Because you moved down
Yeah, I mean,
from the mere mortal levels and climbed up that corporate ladder a bit.
yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, thanks for that. I don't think so, but yeah, okay, we can say so if you like, but yes. But actually, now I've also just recently changed again my role. So this last role was like only two years, and that was in Dubai. And since April, I am now kind of more in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. So that's like you can say the fourth country for me
Nice.
at this company. But in fact, I've been always going to Riyadh also because I'm actually Middle East. So basically, we have 15 countries we're covering, and I used to travel to a lot most of the time to Riyadh. In the last 2 years, I've been in Dubai, back forth. And basically, the point is really to grow the business in that region for that company because yeah, it's seen like a growth region for us, and also many other companies are joining that region. They're growing there a lot because there's a lot going on. There's a huge transformation, with Saudi Arabia culturally and
Yeah,
also construction, giga projects.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot
yeah.
going on, and it's be good to be part of it. So it's hopefully a good potential. We're still
Well,
exploring at the
Nice.
moment.
Bashir, are you for the Riyadh aspect of your job right now? Are you looking into the broader portfolio of our company, or just the automotive sector or the
Ye-
automotive side?
Yeah, so the last 2 years until April, I was looking at all this basically different
Hmm. Yeah,
sectors,
different
everything
sectors,
the
and yeah,
company does, everything.
yeah.
So, but now from April, back to only automotive and mobility, back to my roots, kind of, you can say. And
Okay,
this
good.
is
Nice.
the point is to grow that sector specifically for the
Yeah.
whole region. But okay, it has to be very creative. There's a lot of new ideas to come up with. It's not just straightforward because there are not as many vehicle manufacturers and players in this region as in Europe or other places. But
Mm,
it's picking
yeah.
up.
Yeah. It is it usually takes time, these sort of new markets, but they eventually do pay off. Pay off. So
Yes, it needs some
w-
patience for sure.
very good. Very cool.
Oh, glad to have you on the podcast, Bashir, and thanks for taking the time to join, the world's largest corporate and automotive podcast to have a chat with us.
Yes, 3.5
Um,
followers,
Yes.
amazing. I love it. Listeners also.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, what actually,
So,
one thing I
yep.
noticed in your like few podcasts in the past, you've upgraded from 2.5 to 3.5 at some point. So you are already growing.
Yes.
When
But
you
it has
mention it,
stagnated again.
yeah,
You never know. We might have some ghost listeners and followers.
This
We
is
are
true.
slowly moving
This
up in
is
the
true.
world, and I'm sure we're gonna explode after this episode with Bashir here.
Yeah.
Even though, like you said,
Yeah.
technically our listeners will go down by a third since you're here, Bashir. But our ratings will go down a bit. But then they're gonna slingshot up. I'm sure of it.
I'm advertising it a lot. I'm sending the link to many people, so you can count
Very
on
good.
me.
Ooh,
Thank you
thank
so
you,
much.
Really,
That's
really.
awesome.
thank you very much.
Yeah, if you
So
want me not to
to
send it to
start
someone
things off,
specific, let me know.
yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, when all the big bosses and some marketing people, why not? Yeah, go for it.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, to start things off, we're gonna obviously the theme of today, because we haven't announced that yet. The theme of today, and the reason you're here, Bashir, we would like to talk about the corporate ladder and specifically climbing that corporate ladder. Moving up through the company ranks, changing roles, growing from strength to strength. Those sort of things. Um, but before we do that, normally we do have a bit of a rant section in our podcast. Now, Adi, you have been on holiday for forever now. Not sure if you're working now or still on chilling by your own private lake in the mountains. So not sure if you have a rant for today.
I'm actually back at work since yesterday, to be fair, to be honest. And I don't really have a rant, just catching up on a lot of emails and getting some urgent work done before the end of day. But that's it.
Mhm.
So I have been working for 2 days already now. So I am
Oh,
back
you
at work.
poor
But
soul.
I don't really
Uh,
have a rant today. So
I do have one quick rant because I'm 1 week away from my holiday. And
go
my
for
whole
it.
rant today is about one particular colleague that shall not be named and is from a completely different continent and different team and all that, but I do have to work with him. And he's the
Mm,
sort of person that I realized over the last. So I picked up a new project a couple of months ago, a bit of a running change project, and
mm,
he's been quite active in the day-to-days of the project. He's not a project manager by role, but he was quite heavily involved in orchestrating the meetings, very micromanaging a lot of things. So, I did the natural thing, and I thought, well, if this works and things are getting done, I'm just gonna let him go with it. I was checking in on the major things, but everything was going well. And now customer came in with a slightly bigger request, obviously very urgent. This guy started things off, million emails, million meetings, blah, blah, blah. And then in one of the meetings, me and him joined a bit early, so we were both on the line. And out of nowhere, he just drops it like, Bogdan, would you mind picking up the project management side of things on this project? And I was like, I beg your pardon? And I was like, which part specifically? And I was like, well, all of it. So and I was like, oh, cool. So whilst things were going nice and well, you were all happy to micromanage all of us, but all of a sudden shit hits the fan and it's back to Bogdan, can you handle this? So that really made my week. And now I'm just, yeah, scrambling to assert authority and try to get this project back on rails. But it feels like an uphill battle because every time I think I know what I'm doing, bam, comes another process or something that I have no clue how to handle, and it's absolutely bananas. And I'm not sure if you notice how hard it is to find someone working in Germany after 3 o'clock on a Friday, because it's a pain to. I needed one more bit of information today, and there was literally no one there to give it to me. So that's another day wasted. So
Crazy.
yeah,
You can take that
that's
as a
that's my
compliment,
rant of the
maybe,
week.
Bogdan. That they trusted your project management skills. See?
Yeah, see,
It's
I
the
haven't
silver
thought about it
lining,
like that.
Bogdan.
Yeah, I just took it as a very not so subtle dig at my approach on managing the project. But yeah, no, I'll try to look at it more positively from now on.
But it
Thank you
does
guys
get
for that.
it does get I agree with the fact that it does get a little bit difficult to get stuff done after 3 p.m. in the corporate world in general. I'm not going to say Germany specifically because I don't think that's true. I have worked I know people in the US as well and UK as well, and it's sort of similar. After 3 p.m. it really is quite difficult. Especially if it's something to do with a production facility or a plant. I don't think it matters what company. It's impossible to get stuff done.
Yeah, but then you have
Yeah.
people in India who are planning meetings and sending emails at like 8 p.m. their time, and they're online doing work when I log in, and they're online sending emails after I log out, and I'm like, when the flip do they sleep? So I'm not saying that's healthy,
But
but there are advantages.
There's the work-life balance. Oh, you had one subject like that before. I think that's a different episode. But this
yeah.
also
Yeah,
you see in different regions outside Germany, let's say, this is much less of an issue, work-life balance. People are expected to be a lot more online,
Yeah.
or they just do it because they think, yeah, there's a lot more pressure. And then you can get hold of them a lot more. Even in the evening, everyone wants to check emails still. They're always curious about what's happening while they're offline, kind of. Can't
Yeah.
really shut down completely.
I
yeah,
think it's
I'm
also a
I'm
little bit of a cultural thing.
Also, yeah, yeah, true.
For like country to country, and as an Indian, I can say this. Uh, yes, it's true, Bogdan, that sometimes we stay logged in at like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. But then the
Mm-hmm.
opposite is also true, I must say. There are times when my folks do wake up at a nice 8 a.m., go for a nice breakfast, and get settled down at around 10 a.m. before they really do anything. So it goes both ways, but
I
it,
mean
it
they
works
they
out in
deserve
the
it.
end.
Exactly.
So
But
okay,
this
cool.
Oh,
this whole work-life balance and being active and working your ass off some days, I think do leads us into the main theme of today, because I'm gonna start things up with this. I think there's a common misconception, or not a misconception, but a common idea that if you just constantly work crazy hours and you're involved in every single project, every single thing that moves in your company, you are bound to be promoted and become a great manager with a huge salary one day. And I want to give this question to both of you actually. Do you think this is the case? Like, is just working your ass off, putting in million extra hours and stuff, the only way to progress on the corporate ladder and move up in the world? Or are there more efficient, easier, and better ways to do stuff?
yeah, probably it's if I can start, Adi, just quickly one
Yeah,
point
yeah,
Sure,
go
sure.
about
for it. No,
this.
please, please.
So it's actually, yeah, I mean, I feel here it's more quality more than quantity because also like even whoever needs to know that you're working long hours and I don't know what, that will enable you to progress maybe in your career, those people also normally know a lot more than we imagine. They actually really know a lot of detail than you expect. So they might think, okay, they know the person. Maybe the person is actually working much harder because they're not efficient enough, or they can always find an excuse in a way in their mind that actually, ah, yeah, those people is great. They're putting so much effort, wonderful. They appreciate it, but it doesn't mean it's gonna 100% directly count into some career progress, because at some stage maybe they have made their own idea of you. Of course, they have to be telling you also clearly that, okay, that's not good for you and so on. But if they have an idea in their mind and know that you are very efficient, but at the same time you're having to work long hours, then they appreciate it. But if they think of you already from the start, okay, that person maybe is not efficient enough, they can maybe do the job in half the time, then okay, it doesn't really count as much towards the progress in the career. That's what I
Understood. Yeah.
feel. On that point, at least, it's not
No,
always true.
it's a fair assessment, I would say. A quantity over quality. I like that.
And I really
Um,
like the hint that managers do know a lot more than you think they know. So
yeah.
that's also a good insight to bear in mind.
It's
Based
good to
on
keep it in mind.
experience, personal experience. I've sometimes you're surprised, like I get surprised. Oh God, how did they know that actually? Or how, for example, if you have like some weak point or something, and suddenly, okay, they actually can discover it, even if they never showed it.
Yeah,
They are monitoring these things because in the end they have to also for appraisal and whatever, they have to also always check what's going on. So they
yeah.
do it without you finding out, but at the end of the year you realize that actually, oh, okay, those things maybe that went wrong. You tried maybe to solve them quickly and sort them out. Not that you're hiding, but I mean you're trying to do your job to solve the
Mm.
issue. They have already noticed, for example, that trait you have, for example, or trait of inefficiency or trait of being, I don't know, working too long hours, even if they didn't know or didn't try to make them know, normally they find out eventually.
Yeah, and also, we sort of do this ourselves, or at least I've done this in the past, and the same has been done to me, where uh, sometimes for one reason or another, maybe you do it intentionally or unintentionally, it doesn't matter, but the end effect is the same. uh, if you're trying to get some work done with somebody else, and no matter what you do, you cannot get a response, or you cannot get the uh, i- problem resolved, or the information that you need, or whatever it is, uh, at some point, they will invariably go to your boss or your group leader or your team leader or whatever, and put in a word and say, hey, look, I'm trying this, but I'm not able to get forward because XYZ colleague is not responding or hasn't been able to help, blah, blah, blah. And those sort of feedbacks reside in sort of your,
Hmm.
unwritten ledger
Yeah.
at the company. And that's part of the reputation. And so it is important to take care. So, uh, just to answer the original question, Bogdan, from my side, I fully agree what Bashir said. It is quality over quantity, and also I think it's doing things or finding things that help fix or help move the goal of the company, or anything belonging to the company a little bit forward. So if your actions in the end do benefit the company, even in some small way, that will get you much further ahead than you just blindly putting in hours. I think so. So it's not even the work smart, not hard thing, because I don't think that's true. I think it's a little bit of BS, if I'm honest. I think it's a little bit of a marketing thing, if anything. But uh, but yeah, moving the needle forward for the company, or even your group, or your team, or something. I think that's what really gets it gets you ahead, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
But
very
some
fair
people
point.
focus only on those things because they think these are the only points that will get them through to in their career, and then ignore everything else. So
Yeah.
they start saying, "Ah, yeah, okay," and they make sure that the management and whoever needs to decide for their career is already aware of what they're doing, especially for the points that are progressing the company's future, and then they ignore all the other stuff, and then you just
Yes.
can't get anything out of them, which is not useful, or it will be
This is
useful
true.
and you need it, but maybe not for their career. And then they focus only on that.
Yeah, I actually know somebody like that. So yes, I
Uh,
agree. It's not only that. I agree. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Jens, for that. So then, back to or continuing the theme of today. When say you do, you do find that right balance of working smart, working hard, and you are pushing the needle forward for the company. What next? Is it always a matter of right place, right time, right person, or do because I keep hearing, a lot of people have a very ironclad, 3 to 5 year personal development plan, everything mapped out. Say people say, oh, in 3 to 4 years, I want to be a manager at that level, or blah blah blah. Do things always come when you have, this ironclad plan and stick to it and work like crazy for it, or sometimes certain things just come to you as a result of your work ethic and your day to day, and then the opportunity just kind of opens up, and then the only question is if you go for it or not.
yeah, yeah. So what you said also is very important. This being in the right place at the right time. That one is definitely, I would say, also a important part. Even though it could be luck or chance that you had. That you were in the right place at the right time, but it's definitely one driver for it because everything else has to be there before. So if you're in the right place at the right time, but then you haven't done anything that impressed anyone, or you don't have to do it to impress, but I mean that no one noticed that there is a potential, then being in the right place at the right time is also not gonna help. But and then this is where the other stuff is important, that at least the fundamentals are there and people will notice this. And having a plan for 3 to 5 years or so on, I find, because I've been asked this question millions of times, you two guys, I'm sure, everyone, that every time it's the standard like Googled HR question, kind of, you can say. But with time, I realized because everyone asks this, that actually it's they want to know. It's not that they're only asking it for seeing what you're going to answer now, or they have something between the lines they want to understand. So a lot of people want to know what you really want, and then they will help you. First, you have to have the right fundamentals there, efficiency, skills, and you showed some progress. And then you can say what you want, what your plans are for 3 to 5 years, and then they should be able to support you because if you don't tell them, then they can't really help as much, I would say. And also the other thing is that the some people actually don't want to progress as much more because also going up the ladder means also a lot more responsibility, also a higher risk, and you are definitely exposed. And some people are actually happy with what they're doing today, and they're glad to stay where they are. They have the job they're doing every day, they love it, they're motivated to still do it maybe for the next 3 decades, no problem, and they don't want more. They're happy privately and work. So if the management doesn't know you want to progress, then they will also not be able to help you too much. In some cases, sometimes they would approach you and say, Bogdan, by the way, or Adi, you need to go next. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my answer. Sorry, long one.
No, no, it's good.
Hopefully they
The
mean
longer the
you
better.
need to go upward, not out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. Not pack your
Oh.
stuff and see you later.
There's the door. Goodbye. Thanks
Promoted
for
to
your
customer.
service.
Bye.
Promoted to the
Um,
car park, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that. You'd like Bashir said, you need to have the groundwork ready and let the management know, and sort of it'll reciprocate. If you're putting in the groundwork, the management, there's a good chance that the management will also notice, and it will sort of become a synergistic effect, and they you will be able to move up, I think. Um, m- Speaking or having heard stories from outside our company where we work, uh, it's also true that you sort of need to fight for what you really want. And it also, I think, Bashir, you touched on this a little bit. I think it depends on the people that's around you, your manager, your coworkers, everybody else as well. If they're sort of all in the same sort of mindset and growth mindset and things like that, and if it's a genuinely positive atmosphere to work at, I think yes, it'll sort of help you. You can make this 3 to 5 year ironclad plan and go
Mm.
forward, but. I know for a fact that it's not true in all the companies. In this regard, I think we're lucky. I think we have a good work culture and sort of a healthy, upbeat culture, and that's good. But I do know some people who work in other companies around the world, where it's not the case, and they're even within our own company, maybe in other countries, I know it's not the case, because I know people who've had to fight tooth and nail to get to where they are, and that's not because they were lazy or they were not doing their job or they had to learn. No, they were doing their job perfectly. They had proof for it. They were documenting everything, and yet there was no recognition. There was no sort of chance to even like climb, and they had to fight.
Mm.
So I think it's a little bit of a grit question as well. Do you have the grit and the passion, and the goals to go where you want to within the corporate ladder? But again, there are people who, like Bashir said, 35, 40 years, same position, and they're extremely happy. And that's great too. There's no wrong answer here. But if climbing the ladder is your goal, uh, it's easier if you're in a place where your managers are also cool and think the same way as you, and they're willing to support you. But if not, it really does come down to, fight for it. Go for it. Especially
Mm.
if you know, and if you're confident that you're doing the job well, and you have proof for it, and you can document everything, then I would say don't hesitate. Just pound through and fight for it.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you guys think or feel like, some people say that if you want to move up and progress, one key thing is, I heard two theories here. Never stay in the same role more than, I don't know, 3 to 4 years tops. Some people even say 2 years. And the other one is, and on this I heard mixed reviews about company hopping, move from one
Yeah,
company to the other after a few years. Some people say
yeah.
that's the only way to go. Other people say stay in one company, learn how the system works, and then just play the system in that company. Um, where are you guys sitting on that? Because me personally, as you guys know, this company is the only one that I've been at and I know. So I never really felt a strong incentive to jump ship, and I still don't. But I'm curious to see what's your opinion on it. Is it effective to jump around, or is it better to show some loyalty and, yeah, move around different roles within the company, but stick with the mothership?
Yeah. It depends on the company because there are some, if you're with a startup or much smaller company, maybe which is in one location, then it's definitely, or has not as many sectors, then okay, you might say, okay, it's enough. I know everything now with this one, time to change. But because this is quite a giant company, you have, nearly in every continent, you have a chance to be. If you want it to happen and you want to move even continents, you can. If you want to completely change, industries, you can. But this is what's crazy about, because for me, it's same as you said, Bogdan. It's also 17 years, same company. So I don't know anything else. I've been only like 1 year somewhere else before, like IT, so on. But With this one, it's 3 countries, so you can always change. You can still avoid changing companies, kind of, and
Okay.
kind of having a diversity in your job and not having to have it a boring job. If you want to change, you can. Continents, countries, and industries, completely different industries. So that's great that we have. This is a privilege we have.
I agree. Our company does allow this. I mean, I'm sure it'll feel like a completely different company if you go to a different sector in a different country within our same umbrella corporation. It'll almost feel like a company. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
But
I can say it feels like a different company, even just changing countries. I
yeah,
stayed in the same
yeah,
sector, but
yeah,
I
exactly.
feel like I'm a new hire having no clue what I'm doing nowadays.
Yeah, yeah.
good. That's motivation. Have something new, not that boring then.
But I
Definitely
do
not
have
boring.
another point about this though. I agree that uh, like Bashir, we are privileged. I completely agree. I think that's indisputable. But having been outside this company before I came here, like 7 years ago, uh, I know people who do this, who do the uh, company hopping, let's say, for at least like every 4 to 5 years. And I've heard more success stories when people do that than uh, horror stories. What I mean by that is the majority of the time, again, I don't know personally, I cannot comment, but I have 3 friends who I can think of right now who have done this, and they have climbed the ladder drastically. At least one of them has climbed the ladder drastically. And there are, it also depends on you as a person, and the people around you, but there are people who have jumped ship and sort of stayed at the same level no matter which company they go to. But i- if you have the vision of climbing the ladder and sort of use that and do the work needed in each company and then try to jump ships, it's helped at least the few people that I know, and it's always been a positive change for them.
Yeah.
Not just in terms of pay or remuneration or whatever, but also in terms of like the position that they hold and the responsibilities that they get in other companies. It's helped them. So it does work. Uh, Again, I'm not
Yeah.
in a position to comment because I haven't done it myself, but having known people and having had friends who've done this, I can say it does work. But you need to know what you're doing, and it needs to be very strategic. You can't just be like, "Oh, I'm a project manager at this company, and I've managed like 12 people. So now I'm gonna apply to some other company and apply for being a department head or like a group leader." That's not going to work because you just
Yeah.
managed a few projects. You haven't done anything
I mean, the
for
fact
three,
is,
four.
to add, sorry, just to add on this, basically, it's to show that you went out of your comfort zone and you survived.
Yeah,
Basically, this is
exactly.
where the tick box is kind of. So
Yeah,
you went
exactly.
somewhere else, maybe completely different culture, or changed sectors you never knew anything about. But then after, few months, you got comfortable with it and you learned what you should learn, even though you still have to get used to a few things, but kind of is the adaptation. So to show that by
Yeah,
jumping companies from one to the other, you change completely companies, or even if you change within the company,
yeah,
you're showing that you can adapt and for whatever comes towards you,
yeah,
and that is the tick box to kind of help with it. It's not just as you said, Adi, just jumping and do whatever. It has to
yeah,
show that you did something completely new and also outside your comfort zone. This is most important.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
I think that's a brilliant piece of advice right there about the comfort zone. Because, yeah, I think people tend to focus a lot on the achievement side of things and, having projects to brag about, success stories, stuff like that. And they often tend to forget that we are our biggest success stories in the end, and exactly proving that we did go out of our comfort zone and we did make it work. That in itself is the biggest or one of the biggest success stories that we can put on our CVs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. One point I want to make also, a bit separate to this subject, but to do with the climbing up and so on. As we mentioned slightly earlier, I think it was about the, okay, like making the next level management aware of what you're doing and so on. That subject is also important because, there's a thin line, I think, between just always like wanting the next level knows everything that you're doing and you're copying them on every email. In the end, they get sick of seeing emails. Maybe they stop reading them, and of like knowing when to kind of inform, and
Yeah.
also how to inform, not in a way that it sounds like you are, begging, or you're, ass licking, maybe I shouldn't say. But Bogdan, you have a nice comment about this one, I know, that subject. And
Oh God, yeah.
and then that's why it's also the ones who are too worried to inform, then they'll also be hidden somewhere and no one knows really what they're doing as much. So yeah, you have to really find the balance of how much the others are aware about what you're doing, and not to kind of look like show off and I achieved this and achieved that, because that's also not very comfortable for you and for the others
Agreed.
around.
Agreed.
Nice.
Totally.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you so much for that conversation, guys. It's been very insightful, and I'm not sure about you guys. I personally took quite a few notes. I'm not planning on changing anything just yet, but further down the line, I do want to mimic Bashir here and try to get my way towards the stratosphere.
Yeah, maybe,
Uh,
maybe, yeah, of course, of course.
I think the only part I successfully managed to mimic Bashir at this point, if I think
I'm
back
sure.
to our time working together, I vividly remember, sir, you and I had a lot of conversations about a particular shitbox of a car that you were driving at the time. That well,
Mhm.
I never knew if you were gonna make it into the office, depending on if your car would start in the morning or not.
Yes, yes, exactly. And I know
What
also
what
about
car was
some
that
light
again?
bulbs in your car.
Yeah,
They
my
were always,
2000
you
euros
have
BMW light bulbs.
burning light bulbs constantly. Yeah, yeah, that was an issue. And controllers. Yeah, but the car I had, which also was half, running, half not, but that was part of the fun. It had emotions. That's the idea. And you could save on parking because most of the time it's in the garage, so you don't have to pay for parking. It was a
What?
Fiat Barchetta,
Oh
if
yeah,
you
the
remember.
Barchetta.
Mm.
Yes, the legend.
Yes, Fiat
Yes.
Barchetta was really, it did well in the end, actually. So I didn't lose much when I sold it because it was already like on the bottom down ground. It couldn't have lost that much. The only difference would have been if I paid someone to take it. That was the only other thing left.
I can't
Well,
laugh too hard at that because I did that once. So
Oh
yeah.
no.
Oh yeah, I had to pay money to get rid of a car once. So yeah.
Junk removal, like scrap metal.
well, to be fair, my very first car when I was in the US, when I was in the university, it was almost, I was almost graduated. It was towards the end. That's when I was able to buy my first car, and my first car was $300.
Amazing, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Did it come with a dead
it,
hooker in the trunk?
I wouldn't have been surprised, but no, every single thing on that car was manual, and it was whether or not it was a question each day which part would decide not to work and what I need to do to fix it. But surprisingly, the engine itself was really healthy, so it ran.
It was
What
lightweight
car was it?
and
Come on.
It
You,
was
you
a
hit the good name.
it was a brand. It's a very not well known brand, but I'll give you a little bit of history. It was a brand called Eagle.
oof.
Okay.
Technically, it's a Chrysler, but technically,
Uh-huh.
Chrysler bought these models from Mitsubishi. So underneath it, it's actually a Mitsubishi Eclipse, the very, very, very first
Ooh.
generation. Very, very first generation, like
Okay.
it was 93 or something, 92 or 93. But then Chrysler bought some of these these cars and sold it as a new small brand called Eagle, and that's what it was.
Amazing.
If I find a picture of it, I'm sure I have pictures of it somewhere. I'll send it to you guys on WhatsApp later on.
Never heard of it.
It was a two-door coupe with a sunroof, so
Oh,
and
look at
since
you
I
being
used
cool.
to,
Awesome.
I know it was I was studying in Florida, so it made a lot of sense.
Oh,
But the bumper came off every, let's say, 20 kilometers. I had to make an emergency stop on the road, go run back, pick up the bumper, put it back on, and then continue driving again. But it was fun.
that's the idea. It's reducing its own weight, with time, it gets
Exactly.
lighter and lighter and faster.
Exactly. It's a super leggera every 30 kilometers.
Yeah.
A continuous improvement car. That's what it is.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Uh, and nowadays, Bashir, have you moved on from the Fiats to the Bugattis and
Yeah, of
enjoying a
course.
I
car that
think,
actually starts in the morning?
Bogdan,
Yeah,
we don't
just
have time in the podcast to go through Bashir's car list today.
sure. Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Hopefully,
wow.
no one's listening. They think I'm earning too much now, so please be careful. Yeah. So, listeners, none of that, exists. It's only jokes, please. Yeah,
No,
it's
we are joking, but
now because in the UAE you need some Japanese car, otherwise you will have no chance with air conditioning. But 47, 48, I think any other car than Japanese or American would not make sense because you need something like crazy, like a shopping center air conditioning in your car. Same strength, kind of.
industrial grade.
Yeah, exactly. You need to add one on the roof, maybe also a compressor to when the sun's hitting on the car. Yeah, really, you need something like in minutes. Otherwise, you will be glued to the steering wheel.
Mm.
So it's I have an
Nice.
Infinity currently, which is like the
Oh,
American luxury version of Nissan, but
Nissan, yeah.
it's only because it's a bit funky. It's a car that has I don't want to get too technical now, but it has a variable compression ratio. It's the only engine in the world, and that's why I got it. Which means it will also
Oh.
fail a lot. That's why I like also. It has emotion.
it sounds less like various compression ratio and more like various failure modes.
Yeah. Right, right. It's fun. It's fun.
Ah,
But
nice.
it's practical for life there, and air conditioning is amazing. Really crazy.
Yeah.
Like I said, you definitely moved up from the Fiat that was breaking down. Now, I took your role in the sense of having my Mini Cooper that I give it a lot of shit, but it is running.
Mm,
It
amazing.
just sometimes turns into a two-stroke engine, and it uses as much oil as gasoline to run. But other than that, it is running smoothly. Even though I haven't really turned on that car in the last couple of weeks since the weather's been nice, and I was just zooming on my bike, which
Mm-hmm.
thankfully runs. It's Japanese, so that's gonna run till after the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah,
I've been
That's
following
that
good.
both
is a plus.
stories, so as being one of your listeners, I'm following both the mini and the other and the bike story.
So you know what section is coming next then?
Ah,
Because not sure what's the traffic situation in Dubai these days, if you're actually driving or sitting in traffic jams. But
He, Bashir, I wouldn't be
oh,
surprised if you told us you're building hopping with helicopters in Dubai.
sure, sure.
From one
It's
helipad to the other.
it's the Uber chopper, Uber chopper you
Yeah,
can book
Uber
in
chopper.
Dubai.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
but they're always fully booked,
it's
Too many people are using them, so it's very difficult, unfortunately. It's not about the cost, of
you
course.
you need to buy your own chopper then.
Yeah, sure. Don't worry, I'm saving a bit for it, no problem. A bit more
Bashir
reliable,
saving
hopefully,
for a
than
new
my Tesla.
helicopter. Since we started recording this podcast, he can probably buy one. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Again,
so
listeners, it's a
what
joke
car would
only.
you drive to work, sir? If
Yeah,
you
it's really
any car
very
of the world.
exciting times with cars because there's nothing I like these days, but except like very, very funky stuff. Maybe like, I've been really in love with this. It's not out yet, so I can't really be driving it, but maybe a prototype I can drive. You know, the kind of rebirth of the 190, the Evo, HWA Evo.
Yeah, HWA. Yeah.
I know it
So,
all too well, yes.
oh, you know it well. Oh God, probably you work with
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Me too.
Sorry,
Yeah.
don't want to remind you
Past
then of
roles,
your work.
past roles, yes. I escaped.
Oh God, yeah, this one I'm really in love with such rebirth projects because there are a few of them coming up and on some are available. I need something like that, I think.
They're only making
Very.
110 vehicles, of which 10 are just, racing and like internal, and the
Yeah,
remaining 100 are customer cars.
yeah, probably all sold, unfortunately, so no chance
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, they're all sold, and
Yeah,
they're 700,000 euros a pop.
yeah, pocket money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's chump
Fair,
change. Yeah,
fair.
really.
Just,
Oh, that's
just,
good.
just take it easy with the electronics on that thing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm joking. I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
yeah.
But yeah, no, that is a very
Oh,
cool car and a very cool project.
it is. Yeah, it feels like something out of Cyberpunk. Because I've seen it in real life. Bogdan, how about you?
I'm going the opposite direction from Bashir here because I don't know. I was slowly zooming past one of these a few days ago on my bike. You know, they were stuck in a
Hmm.
traffic jam. I was just lane splitting cheerfully in the sun.
Hmm.
But I, I have a love-hate relationship with this brand overall. But I have to admit,
Hmm.
this particular model, I do love the look of it. And
Hmm.
it's the latest Aston Martin Vantage.
Hmm.
Oh,
I just think it looks sexy as hell. Like, especially from the rear, the design they did with that car, I just love the rear end of that thing. Like, I would do things with that rear end, honestly. I think it looks amazing. So
Oh, that's fair.
that's what I would like to drive around in.
There was a new video on Autocar YouTube channel a couple of days ago, and they were comparing the Vantage convertible to the Ferrari Roma convertible and then the McLaren Artura convertible. It's a pretty nice video. You should watch it. But yeah, Vantage is an awesome
I might
car.
need
nice
I
choice,
might
nice
need some
choice.
napkins for that, and might need to borrow your fab station, Adi. But yes,
No, no, no. We're not going to the Vastus. Yes. Oh my goodness. I was hoping you had forgotten that, Bogdan. God damn it.
not a chance, my friend, not a chance.
Um, cool.
So, what
Um,
about you, Adi?
for me, I've had as you know, I was on vacation till Wednesday. I started working again yesterday. Uh, the earlier in the week, I was on a bit of a nostalgic, walk down the memory lane kind of situations. I was getting back in touch with some of my old university friends from the US. Um, for some reason, that whole thing has got me thinking, and I want one. I've always wanted one, but I want one now. That's the car I would choose for this week. Is a 1975 Cadillac DeVille with like maroon dark
Ooh,
red exterior and like a beige tan light
Yeah,
cream interior.
living room on
Uh,
wheels. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty much a barge that rocks the front end of the car has a different zip code from the back end of the car. Uh, but but I will tell you this: they are so I've been in a few of them when I used to live in the US. I had a chance to drive one a couple of times, and then I sat in one multiple times. Not just the Cadillac one, but also the Lincoln and the similar sort of era cars. My God, they're comfy. Like I fall asleep by the time I drove down to the end of the street. That's how comfy they are. So they're not
This,
quiet, but they're comfy.
you always
So
want
that's
comfy cars, I noticed. So
I
that's
know.
the most,
I don't.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love sports cars, right? I absolutely love them. Like a Porsche Cayman or 911 is my, forever the sports cars for me. But majority of the time, I can't. I don't see myself, or I can't bring myself, even if I had one, to drive a sports car majority of the time. Because if you're just stuck on the A81 Autobahn, which happens more often these
Yeah.
days, it's and then even the cities here in Germany, they've reduced the speed limit from 50 kilometers an hour to 40, which I don't understand, but okay. And there's speed cameras everywhere. Honestly, I've literally funded the entire Stuttgart Verkehr, the traffic police people. Every 3 days, it's like I have a camera. So like someone caught me speeding, and it's
You have shares now.
ridiculous. So I love sports cars, but it's not for me for a daily thing. So on a daily basis, for like let's say 65 to 70% of the time, I do tend to lean towards comfy cars and more relaxed driving. So yeah, the 1975 Cadillac Devil is my choice for this week.
Amazing, nice
Nice.
one.
It has
Good
a
luck finding a parking
7.2
spot with it,
liter or
but
7.3 liter. I know. Like I said, it has two zip codes, the car. So
you might need to pay taxes in two countries if you buy that car.
I know.
Yeah, right. Careful.
No,
So
but that
I
that is
think
a
that's
good
what,
good car.
yeah.
Yes.
But I think that sort
Yeah.
of brings us to a close.
Indeed, it does. And once again, Bashir, thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
us
Thank you, guys.
on this chat.
It was
And now
amazing for me
we've
also. It
used
was
up.
great.
Very happy to hear that. Adi, we need to figure out what we're doing next because we used up two of our friends and two of our 3.5
Yeah.
listeners as guests. So there we
Yes.
have one left maybe, and then we need to start making new friends to bring
And a
on the
half, one and a
podcast.
half.
And a
We'll
half one, yeah, we need
maybe
to.
we'll maybe spend a little bit of time next week, just half an hour or 1 hour, just to go through and find more friends, let's say, and also brainstorm the next few topics. Bashir, if you have topics that you would like us to just discuss like this and chat about, let us know. Even if
Yeah.
it's offline, even
Yeah.
if you're not there, we're happy to, or if you have any corporate funny stories or crazy stories that you'd like to share, we can discuss this here.
Sure, sure.
Let us know. Keep us posted. And this goes
Cool.
for all our listener and viewerships. Please do share and comment and give us feedback so we can continuously improve this podcast and bring
And
more
subscribe.
valuable and therapeutic insight to you. Yeah, exactly, and help you navigate this crazy corporate world in 2025 and beyond.
Exactly.
Thank you
And
very
Adi,
much, guys. It was amazing.
I'm gonna bite a bullet this week and do your job. And besides everything that you just mentioned, please to all of our listeners and viewers, please do give us a like and a subscribe and a share and a comment. It really helps us here, just keep things ticking along. And we enjoy when people give us attention, as you I'm sure you noticed. So yes, please acknowledge us, give us a shout, and we will love you forever. All
All
right.
right.
Indeed.
Thanks a
That
lot.
being said, thank you
On that
very much,
note,
gentlemen. Have a good rest of the week,
and
and
ladies,
You too.
ladies, of course. And have a good rest of the week, and we will hear you next time. All the
yep.
Thanks
best,
for
and
having me.
bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Bashir. Bye.
Thank you.
Toodles.
Bye.